yeah, man, he's a cool guy. I'd love to introduce you to it. His name is Garrett Machine.
Garrett Machine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, and this guy is nuts, man, and he
All right.
invited me in.
You're live.
Hey guys, how are you? It's Marketer Brothers here in Pompano Beach, Florida, and today we have a very special guest. It's Randall Koch. He actually is a Krav Maga expert, and he runs the school that I go to. I've been doing Krav Maga for almost a year now. Learned great things, and you know, he's been an entrepreneur his life. He'll tell his story, but he'll also tell about Krav Maga, which not a lot of people know about. So as you can see, I'm pretty much a mess. I mean, that's I just finished the class with him, and you know, I highly recommend him, and it's awesome. So hi, how are you, Carlos? And yeah, we'll have Randall talk about himself. You know.
Hey everybody, great to say hello to you, and thanks for tuning in. If you're watching this in the recording, please help us share it, because I think this is going to be a big content for you in many different ways. I can already see it coming, you know, with somebody as experienced. And I mean, you've been doing this for a while already. You've owned a business, and you've applied yourself to the martial arts over the years. Randall, I would love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself, your background. How did martial arts fit into your life as you were growing up? And now it has become not only something that you do for self-defense, but it's also a business. So, hey, welcome to Marketer Brothers. We're so excited to have you. Please tell us a little more about yourself.
Sure. I started in Taekwondo was my first martial art I started with, and started when I was 5 years old. And it was a family thing. My father he just retired from the Army. He was career military. He had a black belt in Warrando. He wanted to get back into some sort of martial art that was similar to that. So Taekwondo was also a Korean art. So he wanted to get started back with that. I have an older brother as well. He wanted to get trained in martial arts as well. So he started off as a red belt, which is one belt below a black belt. And my brother and I started as white belts. So we were trained under an instructor way back in the day in Twin Falls, Idaho. And eventually that instructor, he moved on. He was a pastor of a Baptist church, and he got relocated to another spot. So my father ended up taking over the program just so that these students wouldn't be, you know, abandoned. And then before you know it, he's teaching more and more and more. It turned into a full-time school. My brother and I are helping out, and before you know it, we're doing it all the time. It's not only just was our passion, but turned into the family business as well. So that's how I got started, with not only as a martial arts, but as a instructor and school owner.
So martial arts is in your DNA, like you were doing it since you were you were a baby.
It wasn't a choice. It was like you go to class, and that's just how it was. And if you had to help teach, you had to help teach. That's just how it was. It wasn't. You didn't really ask. Like, let's go.
Oh yeah. Let's go. And that's what's happened. That's a big difference between nowadays, you know. And that's how we were brought up. You know, it's like, you know, nowadays I see parents is like, oh, let me see if my kid wants to do this and stuff like that. Dude, I don't remember getting a choice until I was like 15 on anything.
Kids don't even do chores today.
Yeah.
What are you kidding me? Like, if I didn't do my chores, like, you don't eat. I mean, that's just how it was. You get in trouble. So
yep,
it's different.
Yeah.
So you practically started when you were how old?
I was five.
Five. Awesome. So then you grow up in the family business. How did it evolve into the first martial art that you did was it Taekwondo?
Correct.
Cool. And you got your black belt when?
I got my black belt in Taekwondo. My first career black belt when I was eight years old.
So it took you 3 years, right? Yeah. Okay.
At that age, which is, it's, you know, at that age where it's hard to focus on anything. You know, I have two girls, and
yeah, it was different back then too. They didn't have kids classes. It was back then. Martial arts classes were full of adults, young adults, and I'm just this little dumbass 5-year-old in the back, can't listen to instructions. I basically have to sit in the back and just copy people. That's all I do is just copy people, because I was still trying to figure out left and right and things like that. But the point being, it was like you had to keep up. There wasn't screwing around. Like today now, people think Taekwondo, karate, martial arts is more of a kid's activity. But back in the early 80s, it was completely opposite until the original Karate Kid came out, which changed the paradigm of that. Yeah. Back then, it was like I got beat up by the adults, and you keep up. If you can't keep up, tough. And that's why I had to train hard. It wasn't a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you realize that along the way, I mean, it was something that you did because you were in the family business, but along the way, this activity, this action made you fall in love with it, right? And it evolved into a passion?
Yeah, I think what helped, like if you have a natural aptitude to anything, you're generally going to like it. And what really kept me going with Taekwondo was competition, was tournament, big shiny trophies. Because as a kid, ooh, big shiny trophy, let's go win some trophies.
Yeah.
And I had a decent knack for it, and I could hold my own pretty well at the regional level, national level. I was okay. And you're good at something, you start winning a lot. It's like I want to keep doing this, and that's what kept me sticking with it.
That's awesome.
And how did the school evolve? Like, your father took over the school, you guys did it, and how did that grow? And where's that school now? Is it still going?
No, our first school was in Idaho, but we ended up moving to Oregon when I was a teenager.
Okay.
He started a new school there, but my mom had divorced, and she was still living back in Idaho. So when I moved, I actually started my own first program when I was actually in Idaho. I did it on my own, just a small club.
Okay.
And what got me motivated?
What age were you there?
I was 17.
Okay.
Yeah. So
cool.
that was my junior year of high school.
Okay.
And I realized that I could make more money teaching Taekwondo than working for someone else. Because I remember just busting my ass washing dishes for I think it was like $3.85 an hour was the minimum wage back then. I just remember just being so tired and so exhausted and just hating it. And I realized, wait, I could charge $49 a month per student, started doing the math, actually enjoy teaching instead of having some jerk off boss yelling at me for the floor's wet every time or some stupid car. I was like, well, duh, I'm washing dishes. So it was just out of necessity. Like, why am I doing this when I could do something else that I enjoy and get paid more for it? That's how it started.
Look, and it's awesome that you connected that, because so many people wait 10, 20, 30 years and then they think, oh, it's too late, right? But you connected the fact that you had this skill, you had this passion for things. I'm going to go use my passion to go make some decent money and have a thing of my own, right? And I think that's probably part of the example of your dad, you think?
Yeah, that's part of it. But honestly, just having to do like all those entry-level jobs that we all did growing up as teenagers, whether it be washing dishes or being a busboy or stocking shelves, it's like, man, this is hard work. I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. This is not fun. And I would see, like, especially when I was stocking shelves at Kmart, I would see people that had been there for 10, 20 years. They're in their 40s and 50s. They didn't look exactly happy, in my opinion. I don't want to be in that boat, 20, 30 years from now. So there's got to be something better to do in life.
Oh, yeah. And how did your parents support you when you started your first program? Because many times there's unique cases where your parents don't support you, but many times it's because they support entrepreneurs. In our case, our parents were entrepreneurs all their lives. So they supported always. Us doing crazy projects and stuff like that. So if you guys hear some craziness going outside, literally. They're now having a jackhammer hammering the parking lot as we speak. So we apologize.
So good. We'll talk over them.
All right.
Well, in regards to my parents, my mom actually, she's never really supported. To be honest with you, she never supported me owning or running a business. She's I hate to say it, stereotypical Asian mom. If you're not a doctor, lawyer, or engineer, you're basically a failure. So she never could understand why I didn't go off to college, do one of these traditional careers. Because I always had scored good with my aptitude tests in high school and stuff like that. Did a lot of advanced placement classes, but I didn't even bother going to college. But she never could understand why I would do karate. Like, she never supported me doing sports or anything. Like, to her, they're just recreational activities. They're not serious. So she never gets this, and she still doesn't get it. I've given up a long time ago, tried to explain it to her. My dad was different though, because he was self-employed, ran a martial arts school. He was actually all for it. And actually, I moved back to Oregon. I actually took over his school because he wanted to move to a bigger location, a bigger city, about 2 hours away. So he offered me to take over that school, and I agreed. And I was there for 15 years after that.
Okay, so what age did you move to Oregon?
I was 17, right before I turned 18.
Okay, so you started your program right in Idaho, and then pretty much right after that, you moved to Oregon to take over that school?
I did really well. I built it up. It's not saying much now, but as a 17-year-old kid, I built up to 50 students. I was really excited about that. But I was I was leasing from a dance studio. And I was hoping it was going to be my senior year of high school. I was planning to do that as my job. And then at the end of that summer, when I asked to see if I could continue renting space for the school year, she said it would no longer be available because she wanted to add more dance classes, this and that. She's like, well, I don't have a place for it anymore. So now I was abandoned. And literally 30 minutes before that phone call, my dad offered me to take over the school. I'm not joking, 30 minutes before that. I don't think it was a coincidence. I actually originally turned him down. I said, no, I already have a program, I'm good, blah, blah, blah. And I literally called him up after that phone call. And so it's like, okay, I changed my mind. Let's do this. It's like, well, what happened? What changed? I said, well, I don't have a place to do my program anymore. So it's funny how life works. That's what happened.
Oh, cool. So where in Oregon did you move?
Newport. It's on the Central Oregon coast, small town.
Okay. So then you took over the school. Your dad moved to a different city.
Yeah, he moved to Eugene, which is about 2 hours away.
Okay. And you moved alone there? So you were what, 18?
Yeah, 17, 18.
So you just moved. I mean, it's perspective nowadays. That people don't leave home like way late, and it's like you're moving to a different state to take over a business at 17.
I got kicked out of my house when I was 16, which is a long story itself. So I'm used to being on my own for a long time. And then I just slept in the school. I mean, money's tight. There's a crash mat, and go crash on that thing. That's what we did back in the day. So
yeah, cool.
I love that. I mean, and in that point of time, you were probably not thinking, oh, I'm gonna fail or anything. I mean, you were doing something that you liked. You were, grinding. You were hustling. You were trying to make your business work. Did you at any point think, oh, this is not gonna work? I'm a failure. Or what was going through your mind when you had to do this transition? Because I mean, I think when I left home, I left Ecuador when I was 17, and I was the first kid to leave to another country and live by myself. Man, it was a hardcore reality for me because I'm like, man, I was spoiled, dude. It was nice to live at home. So I don't know if you went through the same thing, but maybe tell us what was going through your mind if you remember during those days where you were still not a success, right? You were working to be a success.
I was happy. I mean, my home life was a little volatile. It wasn't the best home life. Went through 2 divorces in my teenage years. My mom and dad got divorced, and my dad remarried, got divorced 3 years later. So I had to go through all that crap. I actually did the math. I think I had like 12 different homes between like age 11 to 18. So it was very unstable. Wow. So to me, sleeping at a martial arts school, my own martial arts school, my place, I was super happy. I don't care if I didn't make any money. As long as I could make rent and I get kicked out, I was happy, and I could always do that. And that was one thing that was nice about having that overhead was like, you got to figure it out. You got to make rent, and you got to hustle. And I don't care if it's collecting cans at 5 cents a piece in Oregon, recycling them. You do whatever it takes to scrounge up money and make rent. And having that overhead really forced me to hustle and learn you put in the work. You reap what you sow. So from an early age, I learned just to bust my butt and make things happen.
So how did school? All right, so you're in Oregon now, and you took over the school, and how did that grow for you? Like you had 15 students, you already had experience in Idaho. Now you're here. How did you grow that program, that school?
Yeah, it had 40 students at the time, so it wasn't making a lot of money, but it was stable. So I was fine. As long as I could maintain, that's fine. So just a lot of hustling. So you go out and I would read a lot of martial arts professional trade magazines. You go find other martial arts school owners, figure out what's working for them, especially the ones that are successful, and you just copy it. You just whatever people are doing well, you just copy it. And some things work, some things don't. But you just keep trying, and some things really stick, and you just keep growing and growing and growing. That's what I did.
That's awesome. So at what point in your career then you take on Krav Maga? Because you started with Taekwondo, and then how did you find Krav Maga? And tell us a little bit, because a lot of people, I've myself been in places where they ask me, hey, what do your kids do for sports and stuff like that? And I'm like, oh, they do Krav Maga. And they look at me like,
what is it?
What the hell is that? Right? So tell us a little bit more about that, please.
Yeah, I first learned about Krav Maga in 1997. I learned it from a martial arts school owner trade magazine. So Krav Maga originally here in the United States was started in the Los Angeles area by Darren Levine and Krav Maga Worldwide, his organization. And they had a feature in the magazine about their national training center in Los Angeles. And what made it really stand out compared to other martial arts schools was their student body was predominantly adults.
Yeah.
It's a very self-defense oriented school. So basically what they were doing, and they had thousands of students, but they did it in a way that was completely opposite of every other martial arts school in the country. Most martial arts schools was all about big kids classes. 8% of the student body would be kids, 20% adults. And that was the first thing attracted me. Like, wait a second, how's this style attracting so many adults? And then the other thing that really excited me about Krav Maga, which I didn't see in any other type of martial arts, was defenses against guns, handguns. Back in the day, question came up, well, what do you do if somebody sticks a gun in your face? Well, you run. And that was the only thing people had a solution to. Krav Maga actually had solutions to gun threats, which I didn't even think was possible. So that attracted me immediately. So then that piqued my interest. 2 years later, they started doing seminars around the country to expose their instructor program, licensing program. They hosted one up in Seattle. So I went up there for an 8-hour course, fell in love with it, bought all their DVDs, started learning all the techniques off the, well, it wasn't DVDs back then, it was VHS tapes. So now I'm really dating myself. And then I started teaching these Krav Maga techniques in conjunction with my adult Taekwondo classes for more practical self-defense. The adults loved it. They're like, oh, I love this move. I love this. I love this. I was like, okay, now we're on to something here. The adults are really digging this. So then in 2001, I decided to go become a licensed teacher for Krav Maga Worldwide and did my first level instructor training and been doing it ever since.
Nice. And now you are, Ricardo told me that you're a third level Krav Maga black belt, right?
Only first group black belt in Krav Maga, but thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. but I have black belts in other martial arts too. Yeah, I have 3 different black belts.
Yeah. What else do you have?
Taekwondo, American Kempo Karate, and Krav Maga, of course.
Okay.
So you basically self-educated yourself in Krav Maga from what you're telling me.
Well, I did the 8-hour course, so it gave me a foundation, and I've always had the ability to learn pretty quickly off of DVDs and videos, and it helps so that too. I already had a foundation in martial arts. I mean, a punch is a punch, a kick. So most people can't learn that way, but because I already had that foundation, it wasn't difficult for me to learn. I've learned a lot of my things that I know to this day from YouTube.
I mean, if all of us could take an 8-hour course and get to that level, we'd be amazing, right? But that's what's interesting to me is like you find Krav Maga, you like it, you implement it in your course. I like what you said about noticing the trend, noticing that everybody was going towards the kids classes and what that is, and I bet you the attrition in kids classes is huge because there's so many things for kids, right? But in your experience, tell us a little bit more when somebody starts in one of your classes, starts learning the basics and starts learning to defend themselves, what happens to that person?
They get confident. You can tell they feel good. And from the very first lesson, it's things that they can apply immediately, which I can't say about traditional martial arts. Like I did Taekwondo for a long time. I used to be a national class Taekwondo competitor. Honestly, most of it doesn't work in a real fight. Like you watch any Taekwondo competition in the Olympics, they'll kick your head clean off, but you're not even allowed to punch in the face. Well, guess what the most common attack is in a real fight? Somebody punch you in the face. So you could be an expert in Taekwondo and not have to deal with somebody just blasting you in the face. And that always bothered me. It really irritated me that way. I devoted 20 plus years into a martial art. Really didn't know how to defend myself that well. So I made a point of, as I became older, got away from competition and sports, I wanted to learn and teach things that actually work. Whether it came from Krav Maga, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or other things that I trained. I just want to teach things that work. And then, so those students, when they come in from day one, they learn something, it's something they can apply immediately. And they get that sense of instant gratification and sense of confidence. And it's a good workout too. People go home sweaty.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Look at this guy.
And I think when people increase their confidence level, they become good at everything else they do, right? Because the biggest thing in humans, I think it's the feeling of importance, right? I want to feel important. I want to feel good with myself. I want to be happy with myself. And if I'm confident that I can, protect myself in a situation or just stand a little taller or speak a little with more confidence, it just helps them in every area of their life. So, man, that's awesome. I like that. What do you think as far as the business side of things? All this, I mean, you've been disciplined with your craft for so many years. I mean, how long is it now? 30 plus years that you've been doing martial arts?
Yeah. I mean, I'm 42 now. So 37 years now.
Yeah.
You're very young like us. So you're now, so many years in this, what do you think for a business owner? Cause you are one, discipline means, and what does that do to a business when you are, disciplined in doing the things that you need to do for you? Because I think Ricardo did a video this morning, which was awesome, about this. Is like, the easiest person to lie to is ourselves many times, right? The easiest person to miss appointments with is ourselves many times. So how does that has impacted your life, your business, and your craft as a Krav Maga martial artist?
Well, since you mentioned discipline, discipline's everything. I mean, a lot of the keys to success in life or business or personal fitness or anything else in general is making yourself do things that you don't necessarily want to do. A lot of times, if there's something I've been putting off for a long time on my to-do list, it probably means I should be doing it. It's probably important. So it's, whether it be martial arts or anything else, I'm just forcing myself, get out of your comfort zone. You've got to get out of your comfort zone. To be able to accomplish anything important or great, you usually have to get out of your comfort zone. So that's where the discipline comes into place, to make yourself do things that you don't want to do. I don't want to necessarily work out later today, but I'm going to do it because I have to do it. I don't necessarily want to do a lot of things. I mean, by nature, I'm a very shy, introverted person when I was growing up. But basically what I do for a living now is public speaking.
Yeah.
Well, trust me, I didn't feel comfortable starting off as a teacher, but I made myself do it. As soon as I made myself do it, I got more confident, got more comfortable, kind of what you mentioned. And then the thing, it carries over to other aspects of your life.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And what would you tell, because, I know this interview is going to be watched all over the world. So what would you tell somebody that it's kind of on the fence about taking a Krav Maga class? It's kind of thinking, no, I don't know if it's for me. Should I do it? Should I not do it? What would be your advice to them?
Go watch a class or go try it out for free. Just got to take the first step. What's it going to hurt to try something? Or at the very least, even if you're a little nervous, like, hey, I don't want to get my ass kicked. How about just go watch? Yeah, any normal school can let you come in and watch. So they're going to encourage you to come and watch or come in and try a class. So just watch. It doesn't hurt to go check it out, and then you can make an educated decision after that if it's for you or not.
I originally, I didn't know really Krav Maga or anything like that, but I wanted to find something. I have two girls, 10 and 7, and I wanted to find something that they could learn, that will give them the confidence and nowadays in this world, man, just for them to be able to defend themselves, and that's how I researching found Krav Maga, and I was like, the best thing I can do is do it myself, so I can be an example for them, and then eventually, hopefully, be able to teach him. And when they're older, they want to do it themselves, because I'm not gonna be around for them all the time, So that was to me, and then the more I saw about it, and then I met you, and just starting the program, and it's just nowadays now even to my daughters, that little I know, I haven't even taken my yellow belt class, but my yellow belt test, but the little I know, I tell my daughters, we're gonna do fighting class, and at first they were like, oh, I don't want to do fighting class, stuff like that, and you actually had, remember you gave me a punching bag that you didn't have a use for anymore, and I just hang it in my house, and I just teach my daughters how to punch and how to kick and everything, and now, especially my little one, she's like, when are we having fighting class, Dad? and it's just, yeah, getting out there and doing something fun, and actually that leads us to, where Randall and I, after talking, we were like, how can we get this to more people, especially to kids, because I have a passion for fitness, but I've really struggled. I teach a Spartan class for kids, for small kids, 12 and under. I mean, they can come, the older ones, but the 12 and over kids, they don't want nothing to do with this. And with my class, which is more an obstacle class. And, but I've been thinking for a couple of years, how do we get the older kids, the kids that all they do is play Fortnite and all they do is want to play Call of Duty and stuff like that. And then one day it just hit me, I gotta talk to Randall, man. Why don't we do a class that's geared to young adults and that I can promote it in middle school, because when I invited to my class, I literally got a response from that older kid, from the 12 year and up kids, saying, oh, the cool kids are not doing it, so I don't want to do it. So now I tell them I'm promoting this class, which our first class is next Friday at Fifth Element Combat Fitness Gym. at Friday at 4 p.m. And, you know, what I tell them is, listen, dude, it's a Call of Duty, but for real. You know, and they're like, really? Yeah. So yeah, man, it's so, you know, what's your experience doing it for like young adults? Because you were telling me the other day that young adults, you know, 12-year-olds, when they're with little kids, they behave like little kids, and when they're with adults, they behave like adults. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I at this stage of my career, I don't teach kids under 12 anymore. It's not that I didn't enjoy teaching kids when I was younger and whatnot, but I just found with just teaching kids, they're literally twice as much work. Not just teaching them, but also dealing with their parents and blah, 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 and so on. But the nice thing about teenage kids is that if you have them train with other adults, they'll act like adults. They'll step up to the plate. They'll meet your expectations. Okay. That's really what it comes down to. Yeah. They'll meet your expectations. So yeah, if they're playing around with other 8-year-olds, they'll act like an 8-year-old and act like an idiot, and all the little kids are giggling. It's just really distracting, but you put them with a group of adults and they have to, oh, okay, time to be serious. It's time to grow up a little bit. And every teenager wants to, you know, act like they're older and more mature than they really are. So yeah, it's still, they'll step up. That's so I don't mind. I don't have a lot of teenagers, but I do have a few teenagers. I just put them with the adults, and they do just fine.
Cool. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So yeah, I mean, so now you have to just finish and put the full circle in place. So you taught yourself Krav Maga. You know, you were in Oregon. You started the program and stuff like that. And then how did you move to Florida, Pompano Beach, and started the school you have now?
Well, I got affiliated with Krav Maga Worldwide's instructor training program. So I went through their instructor courses, which are grueling courses, they're week-long courses, like just the first level of instructor training, 7 days, full days, last day is testing. They just try to break you. It's super tough. And after all that, I'm only qualified to teach the first level of Krav Maga. Then I have to go back and do it again and again and again. So I just kept repeating that process until I'm a black belt now. So I taught Krav Maga from 2001 to 2009 in Oregon. And then my wife at the time and I, her son graduated high school, and we already made a plan to move, to relocate. We love Oregon, but it's cold, it's rainy. We're getting a little older. The joints are starting to hurt a little bit. The cold weather is kind of getting old. So it's like, okay, we need to find a place that's warmer. How about a place that's got a higher population? Sounds silly about a place that's got some crime. Hey, South Florida. Here we go. So that's how we ended here.
Yeah, Florida, man. You're in the right place.
Yeah, so that's how I end up here. And that was 2009, and next February will be our 10th year that we've been here. So
awesome, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm kind of in the same boat. I live in Denver. I've been here for 20 years. It's cold. The joints are starting to hurt at 40-something. So we're thinking we might join you guys in Florida in a year or two.
Awesome. Well, at least in the winter time. I mean, at least you get some sun in the summertime. Colorado's beautiful in the summer. Oregon, it's always raining, even in the summer.
Yeah, that's the good thing about Denver, that, you know, we have 300 days of sun. Even in the winter, it's sunny outside and it's deceivingly cold, but at least the sun is shining, so it's great. So Randall, I mean, it's an amazing experience. I mean, Ricardo has spoken highly about your classes, so I have to go and try it out for sure. But what would you say, and what would you give as advice to any person that is out there wanting to either start a business or already building their business? You've done it successfully. Obviously, I always believe that once you pass the second, third year mark in business, you've made it, right? Most businesses don't survive that amount of time. So, I mean, you've been successful for decades now. What would you tell a business owner that is out there either waiting to get started or that it's already in the grind and it's thinking, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay my bills tomorrow?
Yeah, if you're thinking about doing it, stop thinking about it, just do it. Now, you don't necessarily have to just risk everything, like still keep your full-time career job and just work on it on the side, but you got to work at it and put in the work. And for those people that are in business, be prepared for the grind. You're going to have your ups and downs. Like, I'm not like killing it every month. I've had my bad months. I've had good business years, bad business years. A lot of it is just keep putting in the work, keep open-minded, stay ahead of the times. Things change all the time, especially now that we're in the internet age. And you can't quit. It's like everything else in life. You quit, you won't succeed. You just got to keep grinding out. And I'll be honest, there's been so many times in my life, it's like, oh, why am I doing this? You know, get so frustrated, and then you get over it. A week later, you get back to it, and then you feel better again. So it's just like life. You just got to put in the work and just stick it out. You can't have the ups without the downs.
Yeah, I always say when you're in those moments, think about why you started in the first place, right? Go back to why you got started and think about that hard and think, is it something that I want and I really want? Then let's keep going. Let's keep fighting. Let's keep grinding. So, Ricardo, any last words?
Yeah, actually, since we're here, man, I mean, I like to ask you, and I'm sure, people like we were saying, some people don't even wouldn't want to even come see a class, So I'll just ask you, put you in the spot a little bit. I might get my ass kicked because of it, but what would be the 3 moves, or 3 basic things you would, if you could teach maybe 3, 5, whatever you want, but it's 3 things that you could teach somebody just to defend themselves. You mentioned that one of the most common things is getting punched in the face, or getting choked from behind, or whatever, or even I mean, you have plastic weapons. I mean, if you're okay with it, I mean, you can show them a couple moves that will be useful to them. Use me as your guinea pig.
Sure. Like, you can just look at it statistically. Like, the FBI keeps statistics on what the most common forms of assault are. The most common form of assault is somebody just throwing a big right hand haymaker at your face, trying to blast you in the face. Second most common is people putting their hands on your throat, trying to choke and strangle you. And then the third thing is really common is people putting you in headlocks. I would start with those first 3 defenses. If you learn how to get out of those, you can address 30% of the most common attacks you're going to face immediately, and the very common attacks. So that's what it does.
You want to show?
Yeah, sure. Like, I'll just give you a quick crash course. So let's say, Ricardo, like the big thing, most people right hand, they'll throw just a big haymaker right hand. Yeah. Boom. You just have to learn how to block that. You just have to learn basic boxing skills, which is a fundamental part of Krav Maga. Or like a common choke defense. We have a couple of those. Like, choke from the front is very common, especially against bigger guys, against smaller people, especially ladies. So we do common techniques. It's very instinctive that somebody chokes you. Yeah, so I can put your hands up and try to fight this off. We're just taking food a little stronger, learn how to use leverage on the thumbs, use the strength of our upper body, getting into counterattacks. I don't know if you guys saw that on the camera, but hey, look at that. My shoulder. Oh, there's a punch on his face. So, and then real common, especially for guys, especially like teenage kids and whatnot, is the headlock from the side. People hold the headlocks all the time. And we just use proper technique, counterattacks, learn how to leverage the neck up to our advantage, our life's in danger, hitting vital target areas. I mean, there's no rules in a street fight, so we got to fight here too. But these are like all techniques we teach in level 1. The nice thing about our level 1 curriculum, which is our beginner level course, we address 50 to 60% of the most common attacks from the beginning. Like, within the first few months, you're going to learn super common attacks and learn how to get out of them. That's what I love about Krav Maga. It's applicable immediately.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Thank you. That's as you can see, guys. I mean, I know all these techniques already. Obviously, I don't do them nearly as good as Randall does, but I mean, I've been doing it for about 6 months, and I'm about ready to do my yellow belt test, and all those techniques are taught in level 1. So it is not something you got to be for years to learn how to defend themselves. Me, my fellow students, and I, we talk. And it's like, can't wait till somebody tries to punch me, man, or somebody tries to like hit me because like we feel confident now. We feel confident that we can do stuff, and so that's awesome, man. So I mean, to finish up, how do people find you? What your school is Krav Maga Worldwide in Pompano, but how do people find you, and how can they, if they're in South Florida, come try class?
Yeah, I was just going to my website, KravMagaTraining.com. That has hundreds of articles and videos about our program. Has links to our social media pages, like our YouTube channel, Facebook channel. YouTube channel's got hundreds of videos. Just educate yourself. Just check it out, and you learn a lot. And if it piques your interest, then get a hold of us. Or if you're somewhere else and it piques your interest, find a good Krav Maga program nearby and go check it out. It doesn't hurt to go check it out.
Yeah. Hey man, that's an awesome domain, by the way. KravMagaTraining.com. That's a premium one, if I've heard one.
Yeah, I bought that one like 2003. I grabbed that one as soon as it came, because I knew that one's gonna be worth something in the future.
Smart, man. Smart. So smart. So hey, Randall, I thank you so much. I'm a little worried, to be honest with you, because you're teaching all this stuff to my brother, and when he was little, I used to beat him up a lot. So I hope he doesn't remember, because he might want to come and use his techniques on me next time I see him.
That's why you got to start training too. You got to keep a step ahead of them.
Yeah.
You were even saying that your brother used to beat you up, but he can't beat you up anymore.
No, I mean, my brother's 6 years older than me. He did Taekwondo. He was a very good Taekwondo practitioner as well and whatnot, but he stopped training about 15, 20 years ago. I just kept doing it.
Yeah.
So it's funny how little brothers become big brothers.
Sometimes, yes. That's why, you know, this dude keeps me on my toes, man. So at least that has helped me stay fit and stay strong. So I just need to learn how to defend myself from him now.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Hey, Randall, so awesome to meet you. I'm looking forward to meet you in person very soon. I'll be in Florida in the next month or so, where I'm going to go there for a race that Ricardo is going to race with me, and we're going to go with a large group of people. So I'll stop by, say hi. Thank you for your time. And guys, don't forget, KravMagaTraining.com. If you're in South Florida, come and say hello to Randall. Take one of his classes. Learn how to defend yourself and feel more confident. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good day.
Bye.